Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Carla Hill, founder and Chief Navigation Officer for GPS Career and Business Strategies, and Committee Chair of the Philadelphia chapter. And we are so glad to have you with us today. Today's webinar is Charting Your Executive Path, Personal Branding for Career Strategy. Your executive brand is more than just a title. It's the lasting impression you create as a leader. As you transition into senior leadership, having a clear vision for your career and a compelling personal brand becomes essential. In this session, we'll help you identify your unique strengths, craft your leadership narrative, and create a roadmap for advancing to director, VP, or executive roles. You'll learn how to network strategically, position yourself for key opportunities, and make your leadership impact visible, both within your organization and across your industry. Whether you're aiming to take that next step or refine your leadership identity, today's session is designed to equip you with the tools to move forward with clarity and confidence. We are thrilled today to have you with us and hope you leave feeling empowered to lead authenticity, intentional, and influence with authenticity, intention, and influence. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Patty Ventura. Patty is the founder of Casa Ventura Creative Studio, a Sacramento-based agency specializing in strategic branding, website redesigns, and marketing that helps businesses grow with intention. With industry certifications from Google, Facebook, and Pinterest, she brings a sharp eye for design and a deep understanding of digital strategy. Patty is passionate about building digital presences that work as hard as her clients do, elevating brands with art, strategy, and a whole lot of heart. We are truly honored to have Patty with us today. Her expertise and personal journey are sure to leave you feeling inspired. Please join me in warmly welcoming Patty Ventura.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Carla, for that warm introduction. I just want to say that I'm so honored to be here with all of you. I love what I do. This conversation about personal branding and leadership is something that I live and breathe. I've been in this industry for almost 14 years now, which is kind of crazy, like my half of my whole adult life. Um, when I first started, when I was 14, I was sketching logos in notebooks, playing with color palettes, and building MySpace layouts. If you know, you know. And over the years, I've come to realize that branding isn't just about, something for companies. It's for people. It's for leaders. It's for anyone who wants to be intentional about how they show up in the world, and it's not about what you say, it's what people remember about you. So branding is a feeling. It's about what people say about you when you're not around. Um, so yeah, today I want to make sure that we that you today I want to make sure that what how we present ourselves is in alignment with how you want to be seen and how you want to be remembered. And one of the last things that I will say about me is when I started my studio because I wanted to create a space where where small businesses and professionals could get the same quality of strategy and creative direction that the big brands get. We've led full rebrands, built websites from scratch, and crafted pitch decks for startups and all over the world, starting from Silicon Valley all the way to Australia. So I'm very grateful to have like the connection that I have. And one of the first things that I want to say about branding is people will believe in you when you believe in you. So when your message is aligned and consistent and confident, people respond. And that's what a personal brand does. So today's session, I'll show you how to do that in a way that feels powerful, personal, and in alignment with who you want to be known for. But before I dive into that, I do have a grounding message for us. So before we dive in on the strategy side of things, I really want to anchor in on the mindset. One of my favorite quotes is, "Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." It's by Roald Dahl. I love this quote so much because it reminds me that before you can build anything powerful, a brand, a career, a business, you have to believe in something bigger than your current circumstances. And believing in your potential doesn't make you naive, it makes you unstoppable. The world will tell you that, sorry, the world is when you start building your career and when you start positioning yourself online, I want you to know, and this comes from a place of me, like someone who is an optimist, the world is ready to tell you no. And you don't ever want to be your first no. Um, Believing in your potential doesn't make you naive, it makes you unstoppable. So, your personal brand isn't about marketing yourself, it's about backing yourself because belief is the root of visibility. So, before anyone else gets the chance to underestimate yourself, you don't want to be the one that underestimates yourself. So, just keep that in mind. Be delusional, believe in the magic. Yes, you can create the career of your dreams. Yes, you can be who you want to be. Yes, you can have the life that you want. Be delusional and believe in that magic. So, yeah, without keep going on that, I want to talk now. I want to get into the personal branding and why it matters and that sort of thing. So, um, yeah, so personal branding isn't just for influencers or entrepreneurs, and it isn't just for someone that is running a business or like is looking forward to having some sort of like mass online presence, like a big YouTuber or something. It's for someone who's serious about leading, about building their legacy and opening doors that align with their purpose. Um, Building a personal brand falls, there are three pillars that come in line with building your brand. One is visibility, the other is credibility, and the other one is opportunity. So when you are known, trusted, and respected for who you are and how you lead, everything changes. That is those are like the three. If there's anything that I want you to remember from this presentation, it's that. It's be visible, be credible, and be open to all of the opportunities that come your way. So, the thing about visibility too is you always want to make sure that you're online. You always want to make sure that you're also in person. So, being online is important, but it's also important to show up in the spaces where you know other people are and that you know you should be. So, networking is a huge, huge deal. And with that also comes credibility. Obviously, you guys are very talented people. You are here for a reason. You know your stuff. Don't be don't be afraid to present yourself in a way that, comes off as someone that is incredibly experienced. Also, don't be a jerk about it, but just be be in like position yourself in a way that lets people know who you are authentically. And from those two pillars, visibility and credibility, that's where opportunities come in. I do want to say that opportunities, take them, no matter how big, no matter how small. When I was first growing my studio, I went to this local women in my city business networking group, and I connected with a few women-owned business owners, and I followed them on Instagram, and I did my best to connect with them on LinkedIn as well. And through that one small networking gig, through that one small connection, I was able to win a 25,000 branding proposal. And that came from the opportunity of, being there, being visible, being credible, and just you never know what may come. You never know what's going to come your way. So make sure that when you're thinking about where you want to go, that you don't forget the little things as well. And so now I really want to talk about like what actually is a personal brand. So we have the do's and don'ts, and I want to start with the don'ts because I think those are like the most common misconceptions. So a personal brand is not, simply relying on your resume to speak for you. Your resume lists experience, but your brand is your story and your impact. And don't ever try to be someone you're not. You don't need to mimic someone else's voice to be heard. Authenticity builds trust. So if there is someone that you admire, Obviously, take notes, but don't copy and paste. If you see that something works really, really well for someone else, by all means, try to apply it to you and your journey, but don't, apply your own twist on it. Don't just copy and paste and do exactly what they do. And then also don't stay invisible. I know that when you first start growing your network and start really putting yourself out there, y- a lot of people like to move in silence. And there is a time and place for that, but when you're first starting, don't do it. Doing good work in silence keeps you overlooked, and your brand needs visibility to create opportunity. Going back to the slide that I was talking about before, you need visibility to create opportunity. So when we're talking about the do's of building a personal brand, it's all about sharing your leadership story, letting people know, what you care about, what you've done, and how you lead, aligning your presence with your values. What you post, how you show up, and how you speak should reflect your core beliefs. And if you don't, off the top of your head, if you don't know what your core values are, I promise you, ChatGPT does. I know we all use it on a daily basis, so don't be afraid to use AI to help you plan out your moves strategically. And obviously, everyone's favorite platform, LinkedIn. Make sure that you're optimizing your LinkedIn platform. Make sure that you have a really great professional headshots, that you're sharing thought leadership, sharing insights, and that you're also connecting with people. You don't ever want to stay quiet and staying invisible. That's what we don't want. Um, so the next part of the presentation, it's really what I like to call the heart of the presentation. When we're talking about building your personal brand, I have a five-part framework that I believe is a really good starting point to grow your when it comes to growing your brand. And I'll start down here at the bottom. Uh, Clarify, position, express, expand, and evolve. And the last one is important because evolution is something that comes every couple of years. You're never ever going to be the same person you are today, and your career grows with you. And so as you grow, as you learn new lessons, meet new people, you start evolving, you start expanding, and you don't ever want to stay where you are. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go into details of what these five steps are. Oh, sorry about that. There seems to be a lag. There we go. Okay. So clarify. Clarify. Know your values, know your strengths, and know your story. Clarity creates alignment. Your brand starts from the inside. So before you write a post or before you update your LinkedIn, you need clarity. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What do I value the most? What do I want people to remember about me as a leader? This is your brand DNA. Everything builds from here. So going back to what I said before about your brand DNA being your core values, your core values are, your lived experiences, your leadership stuff. It's the stuff that doesn't change even as you grow. Think about what people come to you, what feedback do you hear the most consistently from mentors, colleagues, or friends? What makes you you? If you're unsure about where to start, I do have this like mini exercise down here. Write three words that you want people to associate with you. These words should reflect how you want to be experienced, not just your skills, but your energy and your impact. And like I was saying before, don't be afraid to use AI. My favorite ChatGPT prompt for this is what values do I reflect based on the summary of my work? And see what comes up. And if you really, really are interested in having this be a unique experience, ask your closest friends, ask your closest family members. The answers will surprise you. You never know what people see. It's good to think about what you think other people see, but when you actually get answers from people, it's like, whoa, I didn't even know you could see me like that, or I didn't even know I was showing that because I really wanted to hide it. The next one is position. So position yourself strategically. Define your leadership niche and your career goals. So now that you know who you are, the next step is defining where you want to go. So this is the positioning phase. Think about it like a GPS. If clarity is your internal compass, positioning is the destination that you're mapping towards. So these are the questions that you should be asking yourself when you're building out your personal brand strategy. What is my unique edge in my industry or space? Who do I help or serve? What problems do I solve and how do I solve them? Other questions are, what industry spaces or leadership tables do I want to sit at? What do I want to be a part of? What are the strengths that I bring that differentiate me in my field? And then the last thing too is, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen this on LinkedIn because this is becoming somewhat of a popular trend. But what is your brand statement formula? I have an example down here. I help blank solve blank problem by blank method or strength. So this is an example. You don't have to take it, but if you see that it fits for you, then by all means go for it. Um, but yeah, don't be afraid to have this on your LinkedIn subtitle, your subheader, even as a post every now and then. Just it's important to remind people who you are and how you want to be seen. And then the third one is expression. Express yourself. Express yourself confidently. Your brand only works if people can see it, so you want to be seen. When you are positioning yourself online, um, going back to what I was saying a couple slides before too, it's important to show up authentically online, but it's also important to show up authentically in person, because the in-person aspect is what really starts to make things start to feel real and start to close any gaps that people may have from experiencing your posts online to actually experiencing your personality in person. So online, I have like a couple check marks, like make sure that you're refreshing your LinkedIn headline and your summary. Post your thought leadership, post weekly, post lessons, start a newsletter. And also one thing that people don't, or that I've seen people tend to overlook is the featured section on their profile. Link anything, link videos, link articles. Yeah, just don't be afraid to use that featured section. I think you can have like 5 or 6 posts in the featured section. But yeah. And then offline, attending those in-person networking gigs, those um, conferences and events, practice your elevator pitch, practice introducing yourself, practice going back to what the brand positioning statement, like practice saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I help solve this problem," or "Hi, I'm so and so, and I've been doing this for over 25 years," that sort of thing. And then also not just talking about things socially, but talking about things at work. So make sure that you're speaking up in meetings. Make sure that you are contributing like really great insights in any type of professional setting because you want people to experience your leadership in action. One of the other things that I'll say later on in this presentation, but I think I even said it before in the beginning, but it's what you say. Sorry, it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel. So you always want to make sure that you're getting remembered in a positive light and that you're getting remembered with good, like exciting feelings. Um, and the last thing that I want to say before we move on to the next one is if you don't define your story, somebody else will. And you don't want that. Show up before you're ready. A lot of people wait to feel ready because they feel like they need to have like XYZ before they're ready, or I need to do this before I get to be that. And that's again going back to the mindset thing. You don't want that. Um, Showing up before you feel 100% is the only way to build momentum. So trust yourself, speak your truth, let people see you fully. You never know what other people will relate to. And I'll say this in the next slide too, when we're talking about expanding your visibility. When you're showing up authentically, it is so comforting to just, be a little vulnerable, put yourself out there, and then have someone respond and say, "Oh my God, I've been dealing with that too." Or, "Oh my God, I didn't know that you were also experiencing that. The same thing happened to me. How did you deal with this?" And when you start, having these vulnerable types of conversations, that's really when you start growing your network, and that's really when you start building your personal brand. Building your personal brand is also about leveraging your connections. So when we're talking about expanding your visibility isn't just posting more on LinkedIn, posting more content on Instagram. It's about getting in front of the right people and getting in front of the people that will speak for you and will be able to give you the opportunities that you may be afraid to go for, um, or those opportunities that they present you are the ones that, they're going to bat for you, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, so going into pillar number four, expanding your visibility. Now that you have your brand and now that you're truly putting yourself out there, like it's time to elevate it. So join those leadership development groups, attend an executive workshop, speak on panels, speak up at company events, volunteer, um, even just sending DMs. Send someone that you really look up to a message on LinkedIn or a DM on Instagram. Be informal about how you do it, but also obviously be respectful. But just let people know who you are. Let people know that you exist. Visibility without value is noise, but value without visibility, that's a missed opportunity, and we don't want that. Um, the other part about positioning yourself and making sure that you're visible and being online is through the referral aspect. Going back to the story that I was saying in the beginning, um, me attending that small networking mixer and me just following this person on Instagram and LinkedIn and just letting her know who I was able to close that proposal. I was able to get that deal. And that was a referral. She didn't hire me. When the opportunity came up, she was like, I know the person that you have to work with. And so that's truly like that's how you want to be seen. That's how you want to be known. That's how you want to be remembered. When people say like your network is your net worth, as cliche as that sounds, it really is true. Um, your network is your leverage, but it only works if people know what you stand for. So make sure that you're staying true to who you are, being authentic, and that you're positioning yourself as the leader that you want to be. And then pillar number five, evolve as you grow. So when you're, when I was saying before about how your career will change, the people around you will change, your opportunities will change, the lessons that you learn will change you as well. Evolution, it's not going to be a same size fits all. I also like to say this, what got you here won't get you there. So your personal brand isn't static, it's a living, breathing reflection of who you're becoming. So if we're thinking about what got you here won't get you there, you have to always remember that stepping out of your comfort zone is a good thing, even though it can be a scary thing. So every 6 to 12 months, every time you try something new, always like have a little check-in with yourself. Like, am I growing in this direction? Do I like the direction that I'm going in? Have my values or my vision shifted? Does my public presence reflect who I am now? And when you're talking about putting yourself out there again, sharing your wins, sharing your highs, and sharing your lows, sharing your lessons, letting your network grow with you. That is also something that a lot of people struggle with. Um, Building a community, that is when you build when the easiest way to build a community and the easiest way to let people know who you are is through being relatable and building authenticity. So make sure that, like, obviously, be respectful about the things that you share, but being vulnerable and letting people know about your highest highs and your lowest lows, that is truly how you will start to build in your audience and start building in your community and start growing your own online presence and everything that you have to offer. Sorry about that. And then, so yeah, so now that we've talked about the five pillars, we have I have two checklists for you that I would like for you to take note of when it comes to making sure that you're positioning yourself and that you're growing your brand in the way that you want. So now that you understand like the five pillars, these next two are actually putting them in action. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to audit your digital presence. Is your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, your threads, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, wherever else you post, are you using the same headshot? Are you using your same title? Are you using the same language in describing the problems that you solve, in introducing yourself in your bio? Are you talking about everything that, being credible? Are you talking about your wins? Are you talking about your knowledge? That sort of thing. So make sure that in how you position yourself on LinkedIn is the same way that you show up anywhere that people can find you online. The second one, write your brand statement and your leadership anchors. Um, you are not a static version of yourself. So when it comes to building your brand statement, what does that mean? Going back to the framework that I had originally told you guys about, answer that, I am so and so and I've been doing this for 25 years. I am so and so and I help solve this problem. Make sure that that statement is on your LinkedIn, it's on your Instagram, it's on your business cards, it's on your email signature, it's a part of your elevator pitch. You want people to remember you and you want people to remember what you stand for. And then three, practice a visibility habit. One post, one comment, one intro per week. Making sure that, if you decide to start a newsletter on LinkedIn, that you're keeping up with it monthly. If you want to post weekly, make sure that you actually post weekly. It doesn't have to be a full-on blog post about some thought leadership habit or something new that you've discovered. It can be a quote, it can be a video, it can be just something that helps push your brand message forward. And then also with introductions, don't be silent. If you connect with someone on LinkedIn, send them a message, respectfully ask for their email, and make sure that you're being top of mind so that whenever those opportunities come, they always think of you in that way. And you always want to be on their mind about, certain opportunities that come. Going back to the brand statement, if someone in your network overhears or sees an opportunity of, oh, this problem needs to be solved, I know the perfect person, and they pull up your LinkedIn profile or they give them your contact info, those are the types of scenarios that you always want to have. And those scenarios only come if you are being consistent and if you are making sure that you are staying true to your message. And then the fourth one is setting a 3-month goal. So going back to the five pillars evolution. So as you continue to put yourself out there, you will grow, your all of these lessons will start to shape you in who you are as a leader and the type of person that you want to be known for. So every couple of months, just check in with yourself, like say, do I like this direction? Am I happy with where this is going? If this is strictly about work, like, how far away am I from a good promotion? Like, um, is there a speaking opportunity at work that I can, really set myself up for? Is there a mentorship opportunity, and not just work related, but also in these networking groups and these small business community groups? I'm sure you guys have seen them on Instagram and that sort of thing. But mentorship, is there somebody at work I can take under my wing? Is there someone in my local community that I can take under my wing? Is there someone that does something similar that I do that we can collaborate with each other? Seeing people as, collaboration over competition always, because again, you want people in your circle that will, give you, speak your name when opportunities come up. And then now that we're now that we've talked a lot about the strategy side and a lot about how you want to show up for, I do have some ideas for showing up visually. So your brand visuals, it's not just about aesthetics, it's about alignment. When your look and your voice match your leadership, people remind you. So the three things that I really want to hopefully inspire you to not overlook when it comes to building your brand, your personal brand, is defining your brand voice. How do you want to sound? How do you want to look? I'm not saying that you need a complete branding kit. I'm not saying you need a complete website. I'm not saying that you need a whole blog and a YouTube channel and that sort of thing. But if you truly want to start positioning yourself in a way that you have a solid brand, it is important to be consistent with how you talk, be consistent in the colors that you use. I know that Canva has a whole bunch of amazing social media templates that you can repurpose for your LinkedIn and your Instagram and that sort of thing. So if that's the route that you want to go in, try to be conscious of the colors that you choose, of the fonts that you choose, of the aesthetic of the stock images and that sort of thing, because consistency is one of the things that will help push your brand forward. If you're always using black and white images, people will instantly remember, oh, yeah, I know her. She always posts these black and white images. Or if you are someone like me who loves crystals or is super into spirituality and loves to post affirmations and that sort of thing, that is something that people look forward to on my profile that I didn't know. And the same thing, will come from you. If you love posting those types of quotes, if you love posting those types of things, if the longer you do it, the more that people can expect that from you, the better it is for you because now that is when they start creating an emotional connection to your brand and to who you are. And then the second one is invest in great headshots. A professional photo goes a long way. I know that there are so many um, AI apps that, you can upload like 1 to 2 selfies and you'll get like a whole bunch of like headshots. And some of them are really, really great. Some are hit or miss, but I do want to, I do want to say that if you work with a really great photographer, that those photos will immediately just be so much better than anything that the AI apps create. But those photos, you can use them anywhere. Obviously, your LinkedIn is like the number one reason people get, great headshots. But as you start growing your brand, as you start putting yourself out there, you never know when you're gonna need those photos and when those opportunities come where you're like, oh my God, I need to send in a media kit. I need to build a media kit. Um, I'm putting together a presentation and I need my headshot, or oh my God, I'm being interviewed onto this podcast or whatever. Like, those are like having those tools ready in your arsenal instantly just sets you up for success. So if you find a great photographer in your network or in your local community, stay in good contact with them. Um, Work with them always. So not just one shoot, but have 2 to 3 shoots with them. Start building that relationship because that is truly how you start to get really, really great pieces of content. And then number three, staying consistent across channels. So using the same visual style so people remember you. Um, it goes back to what I was saying before about what you post and what type of precedent you're setting. When it comes to building your brand, it's the feeling that people you're essentially building a connection to a feeling, and that feeling that people get when they think of you is one that you always want to positively reinforce. So if you're talking on LinkedIn about this like really great time you had at this conference, make sure that the photos that you're uploading on Instagram about you at the conference are reiterating that you're having a great time. So again, it's not about copying and pasting and, oh, I did this, I posted this on LinkedIn, let me copy and paste it on Instagram. You want to change it up a little because obviously like LinkedIn is a professional platform and you can be a little bit more casual on Instagram, but it's all about letting people know the different sides of you and letting people know how you want to be perceived and also reiterating again your core values. If you're talking about yourself, or if you're growing, and if you're trying to position yourself in one certain way, you want to make sure that every time you interact with someone online, you're reinforcing those core values, and that you're reinforcing the idea and the emotion that people have when they think of you. Sorry, next slide. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, one of the last things that I want to share with you guys is your brand is your legacy in motion. Yes, you can build a brand that gets you noticed and and gets you the career that you actually want. Just do it. I love the Nike slogan. It's just one of those things. I'm not sure if you guys saw their Super Bowl commercial where it says, you can't win, so win. Nike is like one of my favorite brands when it comes to building, building a feeling, building an emotion. Whenever I think of Nike, or I'm sorry, whenever you think of Nike, or whenever you think of your favorite brand, keep in mind, like, what is that feeling? What is that emotion that comes to your head? Because as you start growing and building your brand, that feeling and that emotion that comes to you about yourself should be the same feeling that other people experience when they're thinking about you. And so the other part of the presentation that I have is, where you are, the messy middle, and where you want to be. Going back to what I was saying, what got you here won't get you there. When it comes to building your personal brand, um, you, it's, there's so many, there's so many, there are so many things that come up when you're first starting. It's that imposter syndrome, that fear of being seen, fear of people laughing at you or not liking what you're saying, especially if you are someone that loves to truly go out there and just, start talking about all the things that will bring those opportunities forward. So when I say that your brand is your legacy in motion, I'm not saying that you need to have like a YouTube channel or a huge, like, 100,000 followers on TikTok or something, but you don't need to be famous. You just need to be clear. Your people, your clients, your mentors, your team, they're out there. They can't find you if you're hiding. So start showing up imperfectly, start showing up authentically, start showing up powerfully. The brand that gets you noticed isn't built overnight, but it is one small action at a time. And the steps that you take aren't always going to be perfect. That's the messy middle, and that's where that comes from. But the messy middle gets you where you want to be. Going back to what I was saying about my 5 pillars of building your personal brand, evolution, you will change, you will grow. The people that you started this journey with, you're going to come to realize that they didn't, they're no longer here with you, and that's okay. Because sometimes when it comes to building your brand and growing and going in the direction that you want to be, um, that's a part of growth, and that's the leadership aspect that comes with growing and building and doing everything that you want. So just keep that in mind. What got you here won't get you there, and that's a good thing. So when you're thinking about showing up imperfectly and showing up authentically, just know that the most important part is just showing up. Just do it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I believe that is all I have for now. I think, Carla, I think we may have a Q&A.
Yes, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing you. It's very clear. I love the line, you don't have to be famous, just be clear. Right. So thank you so much for that insightful presentation, Patty. You offered powerful strategies for building personal branding and tools we can all use as we chart our path toward executive roles. Now, I would like to use this time to transition and make the most of the time we have left with a live Q&A session. This is your opportunity to ask questions, dive deeper into today's topic, and get personalized insights. So feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. We're looking forward to hearing from you. So let's get started. So the first one I see If you had to choose a social media platform, what are the ones that you recommend and how many would you choose?
So there are two platforms that I say that you just kind of have to have, especially in today's digital world. One is obviously LinkedIn. You have to have a LinkedIn. I feel um, like it's really hard to really progress yourself if you at least don't have a LinkedIn, and an Instagram. Instagram, like, and the reason why I bring those two up is because LinkedIn is your professional, like your professional view, your professional profile. Your Instagram is where you can be a little bit more human and you can be a little bit more fun. When people really want to get to know you, they will Google you, and the first two things that will come up will almost always be your LinkedIn and your Facebook if you have one. But through Instagram and LinkedIn is where people start to truly start to try to understand who you are. So, um, my preference is always going to be LinkedIn, but I say that you shouldn't neglect Instagram either. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, that's definitely helpful. That was clear. So, how can I balance authenticity with professional expectations in personal branding?
Ooh, that's a really good question. And when okay, being authentic is really just being human. Um, I am going to use my sister as an example. So she recently got hired at this new role, and she just passed her 6 month probation period. So she made it, right? And so during her 6 months, she took on a lot of work because she really wanted to show up for the team and let people know that she cared and that, she's in it for the long run and that sort of thing. But when it came to have a check-in with her manager, she was before her check-in, obviously, she spoke to me about it, but she was like, "How do I tell him that I'm taking on too much, that I'm feeling really stressed, like I just started. I don't want them to think that I don't care or that I'm letting them down." And I was like, "Just say that. Just be authentic, be human. Just say, I love this job. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here. I love this team. I was so excited when I first started that I took on all of this work and I'm not complaining, but it's affecting my mental health and I need help. Like, what is priority? What can I delegate? Who can I hand this off to? What can we, reorganize for later?" And at first she was like, "Oh, I don't want to say that. I don't want him to know me like that." And I was like, "Well, this is your career. This is your job. This is your manager. These people have worked in this office for 13 plus years. You just got hired. They're going to know you for a long period of time. The better you communicate how you feel and the better you um, show them your human side, the better they can understand you and the better your career will be in that office." And it went great. She was a little hesitant at first, but yeah, just be human. I hope that helps.
That's excellent advice. A very corny phrase I use is be yourself because everyone else is taken. So
Yes.
that's clear. You don't have to remember, just be you.
Yes.
And the next question, what's one thing I can do each quarter to check if my brand is still aligned with my goals?
Honestly, this is something that I do, and it's one thing about me is when you first work with me, I use a lot of apps. I like to say that if I can automate it, I will automate it because I hate nothing more than wasting my time. So one thing that I do to check if I'm aligned with my goals, and it is like the simple, simple, simple thing, is literally just using my Apple Notes, or if you use Notion, using your Notion notes and just have a conversation with ChatGPT or have a conversation with yourself where you're looking at what you've written and what your goals are and seeing if you're heading in the right direction or if you need to make a pivot. I'm a huge fan of AI. I use ChatGPT way too much. But I feel like it's hard to not use it now. But I literally will talk to ChatGPT. It's May, and we're doing Q2 planning for my business, for my clients. And I really did have a conversation with it 2 weeks ago where I was like, this is how the year started. This is what I wanted, where I wanted to go. I can feel myself going in this direction, and I'm okay with it for now. But what can I do to make sure that I end the year on a high note? Because this was my primary goal for this year. So just being self-aware, trying to position yourself in a way that lets you see 10 steps ahead, but also being present and in the moment of this is the decision I have to make. Let me make it, but let me stay mindful of, what may come tomorrow.
Oh, that's helpful. I heard use automation and making sure that you are watching and staying self-aware. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And how can I build a brand when I'm in a behind the scenes or support role? It's like what I'm hearing is how can you be visible if your function is kind of invisible?
Yeah, I think that is a hack. I think the way that the question was phrased is behind the scenes or in a support role. And I think because of not being, center stage or the main person, that can kind of feel like, oh, I'm just in the background, like I'm not really like a key player, but those are the people that matter the most. So if you're thinking about building a brand where you always want to be known for as being the go-to, I think you are already in a great position to be that. And it's all about making sure that you are giving people the same experience every time and that you are being clear in the problem that you're solving. So if you're solving the same problem every single time for the same person, or I'm sorry, for the same industry, then that is honestly, that is a part of your brand. It goes back to the brand statement that I was saying in my presentation, like, hi, I'm so and so, and I help solve this problem. You are one of those lucky people that have it right in front of them. A lot of the times when I work with other business owners or other C-suite executives, they struggle with positioning themselves because they solve too many problems. They're like, well, I want to do this, but I also don't want to neglect that. Or I want to focus on this, but I also want to squeeze this in here. So for you, if you're thinking that, just be glad that you know what you do and you know what you're doing because 80% of your job is already done.
Thank you, Patty. So
Yeah.
the next question, I have many interests and want to start building a brand. How do I choose a focus area for my brand if I have multiple interests? You kind of
Oh
talked
my,
about that a little bit.
yes, you are speaking my language. That is me. I have multiple interests. I am a web designer. I'm a brand strategist. I'm a photographer. I'm a marketer. I'm everything and anything creative that, a business may need. And so for me, I always struggled with not I don't want to say just choosing one thing because I there's this quote, jack of all trades or master of none. And I at first when I was first starting my career, I kind of felt like I was like, oh, I can't just talk about photography because I'm only going to get photography. I want to talk about branding because I want to build brands, and I want to talk about websites because I want to build websites. And for me, that's why I branded myself as a creative studio because I realized that having multiple interests helped really position myself in the way that I wanted to be seen. So if you're thinking about building your brand and choosing a focus area, don't limit yourself. There is this really great podcast called Masters of Scale. It's by the founder of LinkedIn. His name is blanking on me right now, but he interviewed uh, a musician. For some reason I want to say Benny Blanco, but it's not Benny Blanco. But he interviewed someone, and that is one thing that they talked about. Is they talked about I'm a producer, but I also sing, but I also love picking up instruments, and a lot of the times people struggle with uh when they're trying to choose a niche, people struggle with only choosing one thing, thinking that they have to like cut off all of these other parts of themselves. but finding a way to talk about everything that you're passionate about is actually what sets you apart from other people. So don't have this fear of putting yourself in the box just so that, society will accept you easier. You always want to break yourself out of that box. So be happy that you have multiple interests and try to find a way to incorporate them in everything that you do. And also listen to that podcast. It's a really great podcast. It's called Masters of Scale.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah.
So the next question, and if there's other questions, because we'll be wrapping up in a couple of minutes, so please put them in the session. How do you recover if you feel like you're confused your brand along the way? Like if it
Right.
wasn't clear, your point that if you're not clear, how do you
Yes.
recover?
That is, it's recovery through social proof. So I actually made a mistake, or not a yeah, it's a mistake. Let me be real. I did make a mistake when I was first starting my career, when I was first starting my business. I I had this idea because I specialize in branding, web design, photography, that if I if I go like 110% at every single thing, um I'm gonna get that ROI. I'm gonna get more clients that will hire me for this type of service. And so what I started to realize is I was diluting my brand by talking about everything under the sun in relation to just photography. So when I started, not getting any web design leads or any branding leads, I was like, why, what's going on? Why am I only getting, like, I'm happy to do photography. That's obviously one of my passions and one of the things that I love to do. But what am I neglecting? And so it was through being like, sitting down, being strategic and being like, oh, duh, no wonder I'm no longer getting the work that I want is because I'm focusing on just talking about this. So being strategic and in how you present yourself truly matters. And the best way to do that is through social proof, testimonials, case studies, just having someone talk about you in a positive light about, oh my God, I hired this person or she helped me solve this problem, and just keep talking about it in that way. That will help. And the confusion also comes from not being clear. So there's this quote that I also like to say. It's when it comes to branding, be clear, don't be clever. So just keep it as simple as possible. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Don't try to do too much. Always keep it as simple as possible. So yeah, I hope that helps.
That's Thank you. Next question. How can someone ensure their personal brand is consistent across platforms?
Yeah. So visually, your photos, are you using the same photo or somewhat of the same photo on every single platform? Are you speaking about yourself in the same way? So going back to your brand statement, like, are you introducing yourself as, hi, I'm so and so, and this is what I do. I have 25 years of experience, that sort of thing. This is my email. Um, so yeah, so making sure that you have like those key pieces the same across every single platform, just to let people know that, yeah, you found me on LinkedIn, and yeah, you were looking for me on Instagram and you actually found me. This is who I am. And you know that because I'm using the same photo and I'm pasting the same contact information or the same brand statement in my bio. And then visually, this kind of what I was saying towards the end of my presentation. Are you using the same quotes, the same visual aesthetic, the same colors, the same fonts, the same icons, the same photo style on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, on your threads, on your Instagram? Because consistency helps push your brand forward. And if you're going to be talking about a lot of different things, like, your professional life on LinkedIn, and then you also want to be a little personal on Instagram because you can be a lot more casual on Instagram than you can be on LinkedIn. It's making sure that, yes, you're posting about it the same way, but that you're also changing your brand tone and your brand voice a little bit to match what the goal of the platform is. So again, I'm not saying copy paste the same thing on every single platform, but just make the appropriate adjustments needed so that you're still being consistent in what you're posting, but that you're also being human about it and that you're letting people know who you are and letting your personality shine. So yeah.
It's helpful. So those are the questions that we have in the chat, but I have one or two questions for you. So
Yeah.
just you mentioned about interacting with AI. Now, who's in your community that's helping Patty not be isolated and giving you feedback? How do you cultivate your community, the people that support you, Patty?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. And that is a question that is very real. It's hard for me to answer because I'm going through a separation in my personal life where things are changing for me, and that's okay. Um, but I find that is one of the things that I'm finding is that human connection. So for me, honestly, I'm really close with my family. I say I'm Mexican, like I have like 10 cousins that I speak to on the daily. But when it comes to making sure that I like get out of the house and that like I'm human and that I'm interacting with people is I live in Sacramento, so there's tons of like women in business networking groups. There's also design groups. So I tend to push myself and to get myself to get out of the house as much as possible because I do live online. My team is scattered all over the world. I have people in Texas. I have people in Seattle. But I also have people in the Philippines and South Africa and Spain and Mexico. So it is so easy for me to just be a little hermit and be on my computer and just work and just stay in front of a screen. So me forcing myself to go to these like networking groups and being in person is such like has been the most pivotal thing that I've done for my mental health this past 6 months. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you for that honesty and you talked about that during your presentation, being vulnerable because we all have growth areas, developmental opportunities. So thank you for
Yeah.
being clear on that. I appreciate that. And the last question I have, because you laid it out so well, it's but I've been around a little bit. It's simple but not easy. What's the number one thing that people struggle with in terms of making this plan, the branding strategy, a daily practice? What are they not doing daily that they struggle with?
Um, yeah, honestly, it's the consistency, and it's the unintention, the accidentally overcomplicating it. That's the best way to say it without going so deep into it, but it's being inconsistent. It's about, for example, on a day like today or a week like this week when you're attending all of these webinars and you're attending all of these digital classes, you feel so empowered, you're so excited. You're like, "Yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to change my profile. I'm going to brand myself. I'm going to be who I've always dreamed of." And so you do that for this week and next week. And then life happens. And then 4 weeks from now, you're like, oh, I stopped posting on LinkedIn. So it's about like giving yourself grace because life does happen. And so just like, it's okay if you didn't post like, for, 6 days straight. But just it's like don't go silent. I think I said that in my presentation too. Like life happens, that's okay. Just don't go silent. You don't always have to be at 110% every single day, but just, showing up at 20% is better than showing up at 0%. And then again, with the overcomplicating it, I once had a client come to me and she was like, "Oh, I started this newsletter on LinkedIn, and then I turned it into a webinar, and then I started selling these digital products, and now I want to start selling merch." And so she had started 5 different in a way, businesses for her brand, which is great. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have done that, but what I felt like she was struggling with is all of these different avenues that she had for her business, they weren't solid. So she had planted the seed, watered it for like 2 days, and then went off and planted a new seed. Then went off and planted a new seed. And then she came to me and she's like, nothing is growing. What happened? And it's like, well, let's just focus on one thing. Let's plant this seed, let's water it, let's grow it, let's let it become a tree before we go and start building your other thing because trying to build like 10 things at once only works if you have like billions of dollars. I'm just being honest here. So just because you see someone online have like a digital store and an ebook and a YouTube and a webinar and that sort of thing, don't yeah, don't be afraid to um do that. Sorry if I got on a tangent.
No problem. So, just as we begin to conclude today's session, charting your executive path, personal branding for career strategy, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us. Your participation and curiosity are what makes these conversations meaningful. We're also grateful to Prospanica National for their continued support in advancing leadership within our community. We're excited to keep the momentum going with our next webinar, Harnessing AI, happening on Wednesday, May 14th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This upcoming session will explore how artificial intelligence is transforming our workplaces and how you can use it as a tool to strengthen your leadership and career development. Thank you again for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you so much. Great job, Patty. Your
Thank
your bio really did align because you are authentic. I mean, you were like